so first two teams are Astro versus OGN Entus.
에이스 발표를 그 루다라는 친구가 할 건데 그것도 역시 또 한글이기 때문에 다시 이렇게 돌아올 거예요. 네, 알겠습니다.
그냥 안 돌아와도
그래서 얘기해보시다.
네, 그냥 그 스크린
거거든요. 이쪽 마이크 껐어요.
앞쪽 마이크는 껐나요? 그 화면은 저희는 최대한 가는 게 좋긴 하거든요. 네, 현장 화면으로 가는 게 가장 좋긴 합니다.
사실 사운드가 그 현장 통해서 되긴 하거든요. 그러면 위에 얹으신 거예요.
네, 알겠습니다. 감사합니다. 솔직히 남정네 둘 나오는 거보다 아리따우시 루다님 나오는 게 모두가 더 행복한 결정.
선발하는 과정부터 좀 더 신경을 쓰는 부분은 그 친구가 얼마나 하고 싶어 하는지에 대한 프로로서
다른 구단들이랑 아마 좀 원하는 게 다를 것 같아요. 플레이 스타일도 최대한 창의적이고 재미있고 예측 불허한 그런 이제 선수들을 원하고
심도 있게 연구하고 함께 좀 발전해 나아갈 수 있는 선수를 원합니다.
프로게임단 팀으로서 활동을 하는 것이기 때문에 프로 선수로서의 마인드 같은 걸 먼저 우선 고려를 했습니다.
클래시 로얄 리그 아시아 2018 트라이아웃 코리아 지금부터 시작하겠습니다.
대한민국에서의 의의라고 생각해요.
대형석궁 장인 친구는 굉장히 패기가 느껴졌어요. 자기를 원하는 팀을 한번 찾아보기에 나왔다. 딱 이거에서 자신감이 느껴지는.
자신감이요? 그냥 성격인 것 같은데.
블랙보드를 뒤집어 주세요.
그때는 원하는 구단이 없었는데 딱 쓰고 나니까 갑자기 킹존이 가고 싶어가지고.
크게 될 선수네.
샌드바스 선호 선수입니다.
저희는 A조와 마찬가지로 예선에서 다양한 덱을 창의적으로 플레이한 선수들 위주로
해냈다.
OPGG 선호 선수.
따봉 TV 선수는 제가 봤을 때는 좀 완벽한 선수라고 생각합니다.
그래요?
꼭 데려가고 싶습니다. 네.
따봉!
OGN 엔투스의 선호 선수입니다.
일단은 예선 성적을 기준으로 성적을 뽑았고요.
가서 안아줄까 정도?
자,
근데 지금 무덤!
자, 이대.
뽑아주시면 후회하진 않을 거예요.
좀 더 욕심이 생기네요.
잘 나가는 팀으로 꼭 만들어 드리고 싶어요.
Welcome everyone to Clash Royale League Asia. My name is Jin Clef and we have Simon on the desk. We'll be bringing you the regional. Yesterday was the Southeast Asia. Today we have the Korean region live at OGN Stadium right here.
So yesterday's games were incredibly intense, and today we're looking for more and more action here.
So you have 4 Korean teams, pro teams now, joining us for entire season Clash Royale League Asia for the first time in 2018. 4 teams here. We have OGN ENTUS, op.ggskeleton, Sandbox, and Kingzone Dragon X. Those will be the 4 Korean teams who are going to be playing today in the Korean regional match.
Yeah, so we have the Korean region today, and then tomorrow will be the Japan region. Yesterday was the SEA region. The first 2 weeks, it's just going to be region-based, and then after that, we're going to expand. We're going to be playing against each other. And as you can see, OGN ENTUS here, they're probably one of the most established teams.
Yeah, we made a Korean video, first video to introduce you guys to the team. We're on, guys. Say hi once more. I'm Jin and
I'm Simon. Nice to see you all.
And we are back with Clash Royale. Once again, last year we had the Crown Championship, Global Series Korea.
Well done.
And that was held last year, but it's been a long time since that final. I believe that was very early November. It's been about 5-6 months actually already.
It's been quite a long time since the last time me and you both sat here and watching some Clash Royale, but I'm super excited to be back again and doing this one more time.
Is it me or your mic is quite low?
I don't know. It sounds fine to me.
Okay, then it's fine. And we actually have the Korean. Before we go into the rosters, let's take a look at the overview. It's for the first time. It can be a little bit complicated as you see, but if you read through and see what happens, we have 3 regions in Asia: KR, Japan, and Southeast Asia. We'll be having a day of each for the first 2 weeks, and then we'll have regions going against each other. We'll have a pennant race in that way.
Yeah, so the schedule will be from now or yesterday until July 14th. We're live here in the Seoul OGN E Stadium. The other games are elsewhere in the world. We have games in Japan. We have games in, I think it's Taiwan.
Yes, I believe Taiwan has a stadium that was yesterday.
Yep.
And tomorrow, Sunday, will be the Japan one. And as I said before, it will be the pennant race along with 8 total weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then after we have all the results from each one, first place will actually go straight to the semi-playoff or the playoff or the final from each region.
Yeah.
And we will have all that later on. The postseason will have the wild card match, semi-playoff, and then playoff and the finals. It will be a long season of 4 months.
Yeah, this is the longest season I think we've had for Clash Royale. But just to make sure that you guys know the basic rules, each team will ban 1 single card every set. And then they will have a few minutes just to change their decks just in case a ban does hit most of their decks. They have active rosters. They're prepared for this, but the bans can really throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, sometimes as we saw from the Southeast Asia region yesterday, we had the same bans from both players, and then it ended up not working well for them. They were really prepared because you end up banning the ban you predict. You know that's going to be the ban because that's yours, but if it's the same one from the other person, you don't really have to change anything, but just having the last minute, actually 3 minutes to build your initial decks, just so that you can play the best of 3. It's going to be best of 3. Of course, we have to go through this once again. 3 games in 1 set, and if you win 2 sets, if you have a 2-0, that's a match now.
That's
so
over.
There's a best of 3 and a best of 3 inside that best of 3. You get it?
It's a whole Inception kind of thing right now, like building things on top of other things. But yeah, like basically best of 3 matches. 1 set is a best of 3, and then the match is a best of 3.
다 편하게 맞춰주시고 해주셔서 그거에 맞춰서 저희 실력만 더
Let's go to
올리면 되지
OGN Intro. We'll have a short video on them.
하울 선수.
하울 선수죠, 이번에. 선수 겸 코치를 하시는 중이시거든요.
일단은 제가 공략이나 분석 같은 걸 좀 많이 좋아하다 보니까 팀원들한테 많은 도움이 될 수 있을 것 같아서 계획성 있게 최대한 효율적으로 연습을 할 생각입니다.
잘 이끌어주고 있어서 잘 따르면 될 것 같다고 생각합니다.
프로리그를 시작하게 되는데
클래식 로얄에서 오젠 엔투스도 강하다는 걸 입증하고
명성에 걸맞는 성적으로
좋은 모습 보일 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
밥 먹고 연습만 해서 OP.GG 반드시 이기겠습니다.
We go OGN ENTUS, a team very well known in the Korean esports scene as one of the longest history and tradition in Korean history ever since the StarCraft days.
Yeah, they have been here since day 1 of esports essentially, and they just keep going and going and going, and they've always had this kind of youth aspect to their teams. They like young players who are creative. They're really good, but they have a lot of potential to get even better. And that's what I think OGN ENTUS here didn't really pick the easy choices. They picked a lot of people who are relatively unknown to us in the pro league scene.
And they actually have legacy player has Astro, as I'm given the data here, as he could not finish the 20 wins from the league challenge. So he was picked by the team. He was selected as a legacy player into the team. So Astro is a new player in the team. We actually have a lot of new players from the Korean region.
So do you want to explain what the legacy thing means?
Yeah, of course a team cannot select up to 2 players who actually did not go through the 20 challenges or tryouts. But let's take a look at the OP.GG before we explain a little bit more.
상대가 카드를 놓는 위치, 이 선수가 약간 어떤 성향인지 분석해 주셔서 거기에 엄청 좀 끌렸어요.
제 성격도 일단 좀 분석적이고
팀도 그렇고 선수도 그렇고 비슷한 부분이 많은 것 같아요.
저희 팀에 TV가 많아요. 따봉 TV, 그리고 진 TV, 그리고 의찬 TV.
저희 팀 이제 따봉 TV님 같은 경우는 세계 랭킹 1위로 달성하신 만큼 따봉 덱 정말 많이 유용하고 현재도 많이 쓰는 덱입니다.
제가 따봉님 덱을 몇 번 써봤거든요. 그래서 되게 좋아가지고
네, 팬심도 있어가지고 덱도 따라하고 그랬어요.
저는 솔직히 인기 있다고 생각하진 않고 3개월 정도 방송했고 시청자 수는 한 2,000명 정도 됐습니다.
경계되는 팀 없다라고 말하고 싶은데 싫어하시겠죠?
무패 우승이 저희 목표입니다. 저희 팀을 만나서 제 분석력에 날개를 달았기 때문에 모두 다 이길 자신 있습니다.
OPGG 스켈레톤의 엄청난 데이터 분석력과 엄청난 노력,
OPGG 스켈레톤만이 분석적인 스타일을 보여드리겠습니다.
That's it, OPGG Skeleton. Of course, the little skeleton, one elixir cost is not the most powerful one, but they are the only roster with a 5-man roster from Korea team.
Yeah, and they also have a lot of YouTube players now. For most people, that doesn't really make much of a difference, but in terms of Korea, the YouTubers are easily the most recognizable names when it comes to Clash Royale.
It's the biggest platform also when it comes to the game. And
Yep.
we have lots of great players. Actually, Jin TV also was picked up as a legacy player, as I was explaining before. The players called legacy player, they did not have to finish their 20-win challenge. Also, they did not have to come into the tryout. The team can have up to 2 legacy players on the team. They can select the player and join the team straight up instead of going through all the tryout and the challenges instead.
So basically, they just didn't have to be drafted. They could be brought into the team as kind of free agents, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Legacy player does sound cooler.
Yeah, it does. It makes it sound like they have this history behind them that, like, maybe this guy's been playing Clash Royale for...
That's how good they are. They
Yeah.
get selected from the team directly. And it's going to be... And we actually have... We'll soon have the matchup. Of course, each team has to turn their roster in the day before. Not the day before, I would say. Before the midnight time.
Yeah, so about probably 12 hours ago, they had to submit their player rosters. And the first match we are going to have, I believe, will be Astro for OGN ENTUS, who is one of the legacy players, I think. And OPGG's Jin.
Jin TV. So we will actually have the legacy players going against each other for the first 1v1 match.
Yeah, here we can see Astro rank. His highest trophy count is 5,525. Favorite cards, Princess, Tornado, and Ice Spirit. Ice Spirit just got changed. Not sure whether that would still be his favorite card.
I think Ice Spirit still will be. Still pretty good for 1 elixir cost. Of course, got a big nerf a few days ago. And even if we do have a lot of data on the players and the decks they like to play, but because of that big balance patch a few days ago, we cannot predict 100% of what they're going to play. It's a lot less likely, I would say, with our predictions.
Yeah, I think Ice Spirit is still a really good card if you need a lot of cycle. But if you're looking for that freeze effect, it is much better to use other things.
Yeah, here comes Jin TV from OPGG Skeleton on the other side. By the way, their logo looks super cool.
Yeah, it's kind of deadly, right? Like, I'm afraid it's going to jump out the TV screen and, like, attack me or something like that.
Black and white, that's exactly. Of course, on their jacket, it is dark blue color. Jin TV favorite cards, Golem, Elixir Collector, and also the Rocket. We'll be having our ban cards from each side very soon.
Yeah, Golem Elixir Collector is usually a beautiful pairing. Like, the Golem is such a good card, especially at tournament level where all levels are equalized. The Golem is an incredible tank, and it takes so much work to get it down. And then even when you kill it once, you gotta kill it 2 more times.
Yeah, this is a tournament level. It's Legendary 1, and it's 1479. It will be fair and square for all the games. We do have the ban cards for 1v1s. Set number 1, Chrono Dragon from Astro. And Jin TV bans out the Lightning Spell.
Yeah, Lightning Spell is a bit of an interesting choice, to be honest, because I don't know about you, but when I play, I think Zap is a lot better because it's cheaper. Like, Lightning is a big commitment for what you do. So I'm guessing banning the Lightning means he's preparing for probably Elixir decks?
Maybe he's ready for some structural play, or maybe he's trying to build up, not like the Goblin Gang or the small units just diving in. It's going to be the mid-range, maybe 4 or 5 elixir cost units diving in, because that Lightning Spell can take most of them out at the same time. I think these kind of bans really show what they're going to play, or it could just be a bait.
It could be. Now we have about 3 minutes while they just mess around with their decks. Make sure that all their decks do actually meet these bans, because if you put one of those ban cards in your deck and you play it, you're disqualified, I believe, right?
Not disqualified, but you will be losing the game automatically. That's quite harsh.
And you'll
for
probably
playing,
get a
for
slap
making
in the
a
head
mistake.
from your teammates.
Maybe
as well,
because
right?
then you can have up to it's specified in the rules that you can have up to two teammates to talk about your discuss about your deck for the first 3 minutes. And discussing right now which trying to predict the cards coming from the other side. Maybe he's trying to have this kind of he usually plays his deck, but maybe he's trying something else with the Inferno Dragon. This is unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, banning Inferno Dragon to me feels like he's gonna play Golem himself.
Something heavy, right? It does feel like it.
Yeah, because Inferno Dragon is a great tool to use against Golems, because Golems are these big, heavy tanks, and the Inferno Dragon's damage builds up over time. It continues to do more and more and more damage the longer it is locked on a unit. So it's a perfect counter to the Golem. However, banning it out does kind of show maybe you're going to go for a Golem, maybe a Giant. If you want to play the slightly budget version, it's a bit of Elixir less.
Yes, the budget version is the Giant, or even the P.E.K.K.A. We saw bans on P.E.K.K.A. many times, and then using the Giant because P.E.K.K.A. has been using P.E.K.K.A. has been used as a counter to the Giant. I believe more than a couple of times last night in the Southeast Asian region. It'll be also very interesting to see the different meta from the different regions. We saw lots of Golem play, lots of Tornado being banned actually from the Southeast Asia. May not be the same, and after watching 2 cards banned already, it seems a little different.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. With this regional, we're going to be within our own meta, but then after we start going to other places and we start having Korea versus SEA, Korea versus Japan, it's going to be a clash of metas, and it's going to be so interesting to watch how 2 metas can kind of beat each other out.
As Astro didn't even finish his 20-win challenge, and when Jin TV actually did, and he ended up using lots of Dark Prince, of course, before the nerf even more. And actually, Inferno Dragon is used in his favorite deck a few times, so I think Astro really got his studies done already, banning that Inferno Dragon because Jin TV does like to play that card.
Yeah, but I mean, Inferno Dragon is very replaceable.
It seems like we are ready to jump into our first game from Korea. Both players just getting ready, just making sure everything is set up before we head into game number 1. The very first one, 1v1 between Astro versus Jin TV.
Alright, so here we are. We have Astro in the blue at the bottom, and we have Jin TV in the red at the top for op.ggsk.
This is going to be the most exciting moment.
There's the Ice Spirit.
His favorite comes out already with the Tombstone. Starting with the cycle.
Ooh,
There's the Expo already placed for Astro.
That feels like it's a bit too early, especially with the Tombstone already down. It's not going to be able to hit that tower as much, and you want that Expo to lock onto the tower as soon as possible, because it's an expensive card just for a little bit of chip.
It did some damage, and you didn't end up losing too much because you traded with the Poison Spell and the Mega Minion.
Yeah,
They're
he's still
about
1
the same.
elixir up as well. He's, even with the crossbow going down, he is still 1 elixir ahead.
It was just 1 down when the Ice Bullet was hit, but Log will just trade, and also tiny bit of chip damage onto the tower.
And there's crossbow again, this time on the other side. And the Executioner coming down. Executioner does a pretty good job. That seems a waste of a Tornado there, though. Maybe just using it to cycle, but that's an expensive cycle.
I think he was trying to predict the units coming out right next to them. So trying to take the Executioner out, but that was a big miss. Astro was not even thinking of placing even a single thing next to it.
Yeah, but they're doing decent chip damage to each other. I mean, there's only 200-300 to each tower, but every little helps, especially when we get down to that overtime period, where next tower wins. Each little bit of chip damage will definitely help the player out. Here's another Expo. If it connects to the tower straight away, oh, perfect Ice Golem there. Just taking away the aggro from the tower onto its side.
Yeah, Tesla locked in. Jin TV still holding his key card, the final card, having a question mark. And with the Tesla now, Astro will have a great way of defending his own Expo. Of course, against the Poison Spell and the Log will take a lot of damage, but that's baiting out the spells. So in that way, if he wants to make another push, I think it's a great way to push in.
Yeah, And once again, the poison comes down on that Expo. It just chips away at its duration, chips away at its life. There's the Executioner again. You see a Fireball come out just to heavily damage the Executioner. And a few more hits of the tower.
Because he has already placed the Tesla onto the other side. He had to stop that a little bit, at least damage it enough to make your Princess Tower being allowed to take that as Executioner down. Jin TV still holding that final card.
Yeah, we have about 20 seconds left. Still one card to be revealed. I'm going to guess it's a Rocket at this point, because otherwise it would have come down before. Executioner, Skeletons against Executioner isn't the greatest trade, but when it's that low next to the tower will be able to finish it off without taking any damage.
There's also a chance for some heavy cost frontline pusher with a high health point. But because there is a Tesla onto the other side, it will get locked onto the structure if it's a Giant or the Golem.
Yeah,
he's waiting for the moment when he has a lead in the Elixir.
Yeah, the crossbow did do a little bit of damage, but it is only slow chipping damage. Oh, it is locked on, and it has a lot of health at this point. That could be quite deadly here for Astro. That could completely damage that tower. Takes it down to about 1,000, but that is the most damaged tower in this game right now.
And he has another one placed right after. Tesla Tower still pretty strong. Holding that right now as a turn of defense. Yeah. What does Jin TV has right now to defend against this Expo? It will be locked onto the tower a little bit too late on that Executioner.
It does look like it's going to get it down to about 400. So that tower now is ripe for the taking. The Executioner dies to the Tesla Tower. Tesla Tower is such a good card at this point. Really defends well. Oh, he's gone for the defensive Expo here, right in the middle.
Because he's got the log, he's got the Fireball. He can just clear out with the spell, but here comes the Graveyard. Ooh. An Archer placed right next to the Astro, was waiting for this card to be out.
There's the poison come down from Jin. Trying to do a little bit of extra damage, but this tower will go down to one more Fireball.
Or another log plus some damage will just finish it very soon. Down to 53.
There's the Fireball. Astro takes game one here. That was a pretty good game there from both. It's nice to see the Expo come out again. Expo is such a strategic card.
Thinking in a way, a lot of Korean players play in this way. Very, very defensive. Extremely defensive. Fast cycles with low cost. Jin TV had lots of good defending tools, but once he was late on the Elixir, dropping down when the Expo landed straight onto the tower, he knew that he had to do something else. His Graveyard used not really the best tool when he doesn't really have anything else to soak up the damage.
Yeah, the Graveyard is especially useful with someone like a miner who can get straight up to the tower, take a lot of hits, and then the Skeletons start doing a ton of damage. But it just didn't quite feel right in that deck, if you ask me. Like, I feel like something like a Rocket would have been a little bit better.
Well, maybe having a lot more spells to do direct damage to the tower along with the units. Maybe if Astro had some heavy units coming in, but he had almost none. And also, Rocket is a good way to just counter that Expo. Just throw down the Rocket to the Expo, and Expo will barely survive. Land on few hits. That's also a good counter spell.
I mean, he did a really good job dropping those Ice Golems to tank up a lot of the damage early on, and throw in the logs, throw in the spells. But I guess we're getting ready to go into game number 2.
Yep, we are ready to jump right into game number 2 of the first set between these two players, Astro and Jin TV. Astro leading right now, so into game 2. Here we go, game 2 between Astro and Jin TV. Astro takes the lead with set. Game number 1.
Once again, Astro in the blue, Jin in the red. Ice Golem comes down, Archer's down for Jin, and an Expo for Jin this time. Anything you can do, I can do better. Wow, it really does seem like there's a bit of a trade here, because Astro now drops the poison onto that crossbow, but he doesn't have anything to soak up that damage. He's doing quite a bit of work to that bottom tower.
And Jin TV coming out with the Expo on his own this time.
Mega Minion's gonna die pretty quickly to both of these towers. Doesn't really get the job done, but there's another Expo. These are some incredibly quick cycles here. Their decks are super low energy, super low elixir costs, just so you can keep throwing that elixir, the Expo out over and over and over again.
Once the Expo is done with the tombstone, then Mega Minion will barely take it out at the perfect time.
Didn't get any hits on the tower that time, but it doesn't matter. He can come out with another one and then keep testing the defenses of Astro. Jin is playing this Expo deck the way it should be played. You constantly keep throwing these things down just to keep that threat.
I'm in Tombstone, boys. Even an Ice Wizard hints that he wants to have some great push. This is just for the defense. He's still holding in his key cards.
There's another Expo. Testing it down. But Jin, that's going to make quick work of that Ice Golem. He has to start throwing things down to take the damage. Once that Tombstone's down, he's going to start hitting the tower.
And the log is thrown. That direct damage.
It's going to take it.
A few hundred more onto the tower, down to 558.
Yeah, that tower is looking worse for wear right now. The Expo has done so much work. Astro's defense just has not been as good as Jin's defense was last time.
Splitting down everything. Of course, he's still waiting for that perfect mark to actually make his key card play. So far, Expo has been winning this more than enough to actually get it down with the timing on the Tombstone now.
The problem is that Tested Tower is still going to be there. Tested Tower does so much work at just keeping things away. Minion boys, they go flying for him.
There's the graveyard now, trying to make the play along with the poison spell on top of it also. Good to be responsive with the archer, but the poison will take out the archer. Perfect, almost perfect defense, but takes some damage there.
He took quite a bit of damage on the actually. He's down to 1,300. But all Jin has to do now is hold out another 5 seconds, and he's going to have the victory here. One more spell will take out that tower. So Astro has it all to do here to finish that tower off before Jin can get that fireball, and he didn't quite manage to do it. Jin takes game number 2.
Hey, that's the power of Expo, Simon, as I'm also an Expo guy.
Yeah, me too. I didn't play that much Expo last time we were here, but after watching you play it and you being like, oh, look at me, I'm so good, I decided to copy your deck.
It used to be without the Tesla Tower and with a rocket instead to finish off, but after a big buff on the Tesla Tower a long time ago, a lot of teams actually prefer to use the Tesla instead, and that's what we're seeing right here in OGN. Call for the timeout. We'll have 2 minutes instead of 1 for the final game of set number 1 here between these two.
So this timeout will just mean that we have a bit of extra time for the coach to talk to his players, I guess.
And you can only call for 1 timeout during the entire match.
So they're using it very early here, but I'm guessing they kind of need to.
Yeah, because once you lose this first one, then if you end up losing 2v2, you may never get your chance to have that ace match at the end. It's the best of 3 between the sets also. The winner of game 3 will just take the entire set for the team, so this one matters a lot. It's the very beginning of the tournament.
It's hard to make a prediction because it is still so early on in the tournament. This is day 1, so it's the earliest we can possibly be. But right now, I feel like Jin's defense, even though he lost that first game, Jin's defense was a lot better than Astro's defense. But Astro's offense seems to be a little bit better than Jin's. So these players are kind of pretty balanced. One's weakness is the other's strength. You know what I mean?
We just had the counter decks to each other. Astro playing the Expo first time against the Graveyard that Jin TV brought, and it was the opposite in game number 2. Astro actually using that Graveyard instead, and Jin TV using the Expo. May keep into the same deck, they don't want to reveal too much on the first day, but I think this game, that if you want to bring a win to your team for the match win later on, I think this one you need to maybe change it up. Chrono Dragon ban from Astro, Lightning Spell ban from op.ggskeleton, and I think we are ready to jump into game 3 as players are ready, getting their headsets right in.
Yes. So just to quickly point out that a lot of PG GG are kind of veterans in the scene. There's been a lot of there've been a lot of people in other big tournaments.
Yeah, but we're ready to jump into final game of this between these two. Let's go right in.
So here we are once again. Just taking a look at my notes, Jin actually hasn't managed any big finishes, but between the two teams, OP has 2 high finishers in previous tournaments. We have Chasyu, who was in last year.
Oh man, this may just be Expo versus Expo.
You think?
I have a feeling we have Archers, Golems, Logs dropping down from Jin TV also. I think Astro just got a better cycle on it.
Oh,
We see
he does
Fireball
look,
and
yeah, there's the Tesla as well. The Tesla does make quick work of that Expo. But I'm expecting Jin now to throw out his own Expo, maybe next to the Tesla?
It's just like having another structure right in front of your Expo. That is the worst feeling. The timing after that Tesla would be the perfect chance for you to drop your own Expo. And just reading your opponent's cycle right now should be on top of their head.
So both players are. There's Jin's Expo. And there's the Expo for Astro as well. There's a lot of work going into this middle bridge here. There's just so much chaos going on as both Expos are looking at each other. Jin's Expo is going to do damage onto that tower.
They have a similar cycle. Both players actually holding that Tesla right now. Astro did not even end up using the Tesla. Not really. I thought he was going to save up some elixirs in that attack, but ended up actually taking more damage and not gaining too much value out of that.
No, not really. We should have seen, like, the problem with Expo versus Expo is it's very, whoever puts their Expo down first is going to have the biggest issue. So here it looks like, I don't know, it looks like Jin's going to sacrifice that tower a little bit to deal damage onto Astro's tower. So they're kind of trading here.
They're going all in. They have the Tesla, and that was super late if we just be traded. And this one actually locks onto the golem later on.
I'm just wondering why.
But this will be a game if Jin TV just continues to put the maximum damage goes in. Only 45 seconds left for Astro to actually destroy. There's that Tesla now.
Yeah, and he drops once again, struggling on that side, trying to take out that tower. I'm not sure why Astro's Expo changed target.
I think he got hit by the Ice Spirit just for a second.
Yeah, that would do it. That would change the target. Because otherwise we'd see both of these towers down instead of just Astro's tower.
Once you have a Princess Tower down, when you're using the Expo deck, you have a lot less room to work on. You can't really push the other lane because all the units get dropped down right next to it. It's really hard. So Astro's right now is in big trouble. Still 8 more hundred to go down if he wants to come back.
What Jin needs to do here now is keep throwing out those units to try and soak up the Expo damage, and he will take the win. And there we go. Astro loses. Jin, op.ggskeleton's Jin takes set number 1 in today's first match.
He wins. He lost the first game, but brings it back with a straight 2 wins right after first set. But even after OGN ENTUS calling for that timeout, not enough. Expo deck leave one single Ice Spirit, and the placement and the timing of Jin TV actually putting Tesla right next to the Expo worked out in favor of himself so well, because when Astro wants to put that Ice Spirit right next to it, it will get deleted instantly by that Tesla tower.
Yeah, the Tesla does make quick work of anything with low hit points. It's just, it has such a high attack speed that it just deals so much damage. It's really hard to get near with those small cycle units.
Also, if it's not hitting anything, it just goes down. It doesn't get affected by any other structures like the Expo on the other side. It was in range, but once it goes down on the ground, it will not be hit by any spells. So
that makes it quite a tricky card to play around, to be honest. But it was so good. It was such good use of that Tesla.
Take a look at the highlight of the first set here. Game number 1. So we have
Expo here against those tombstones. Astro did really well in that first game on his offense, to be honest.
Tombstone and Graveyard. First time Astro had having the Expo, and then the second game, Jin TV ends up having the Expo.
So game number 2 here, they kind of swapped decks. It felt like Jin bringing out that Expo deck. Astro using the Ice Wizard Poison. I wasn't even sure what the finisher was supposed to be here. But he just never really had a chance to add a finisher because the pressure from Jin TV just finished this too quickly.
The archers are minions or archers. Great way to deal with the graveyard. Just like that, it's not so hard unless you're thrown by another spell. Here, the final game between the two. Astro had early start. I'd say he had a better start of the game.
Yeah, his cycle was a lot better in that first opening exchanges. He got 2 crossbows down very, very quickly. But after that, he kind of lost the rhythm that he needed to keep up.
I think he waited that Tesla tower. He waited so long to drop that Tesla tower on his own. He got distracted by the Ice Spirit. The connection onto the tower changed.
That Ice Spirit hitting the crossbow, changing the target, and basically allowed Jin to win here because otherwise they would have traded those towers quite easily.
That's why Ice Spirit is still a very, very good card, especially in competitive when you want to. When you just want to freeze a structure or in units, change its targets, or it goes basically countering a lot of the structure.
Yeah, at that point it kind of felt like a Zap Spirit, you know what I mean? Like it just does the work of a Zap for 1 elixir less.
That is actually true. A lot less damage, of course. There are reasons why, and very low in HP will get taken out super easily by any sort of damage.
So now we're gonna enter that set 2, which is gonna be a 2v2. We're gonna have OGN ENTUS, I think HAUL+QMills?
Yes, we'll have that up right now. HAUL.
HAUL is
Super
actually
high.
the player coach. He's the coach of this team as well. From what I've seen in my notes, it's kind of like he is just the player coach. Favorite cards being Bomb Tower? Royal Giant? Like, what? I mean, Royal Giant, to me, I never donate Royal Giants. I never donate Elite Barbarians.
It's a bait. That's a bait. Well, you can put down anything you want on your favorite. You can have your personal favorite, but you might not end up using it because you have to climb the ladder, you know?
Well, you can't climb towers with bomb towers, that's for sure. QMills here, rank 5824. Another veteran of OGN ENTUS, to be honest. That's a pretty high rank. And we see Lock, Tornado, and Poison. So this guy likes his spells.
QMills used lots of guards, like Poison Spell, along with the Ice Golem and the Ice Wizard. So he's a very icy guy, and he likes lots of spells, as we can tell here. All the spells are his favorite 3.
Spells are very, very useful to pulling things back, and you can chain. Like, you can chain Tornado and keep something in place for a very, very long time.
Well, competitive 2v2, it's a new format here in Clash Royale League Asia, as we have competitive 2v2 for all regions.
Here we have op.ggskeleton, I guess that's it. EuiChan, yeah. So he was the Crown Championship Global Series Korea round of 16. EuiChan?
EuiChan, yes.
I don't remember him last year.
Round of 16, yes. He was
Yeah,
there.
so
he was using some other IGN
other
at the
ID.
time. And he was in there. Certainly, I do remember his Korean name. That's why he's going with the EuiChan. And also having lots of the team members. OGN Skeleton. Second member for TV2 will be Chasyu. This will be Chasyu Top-Up from last year. He was also in the same tournament. Went up to the semi-finals, actually.
He got to the semi-finals in the Casper Cup, which was for the 2nd seed into the global tournament last year.
He was very close.
Very
close, but he used lots of golden gems. Very, very heavy decks, as we can tell. He loved all the heavy decks along with the golem, the Night Witch, the casual, the classic combo. Pushing in along with the Elixir Collector. He had lots of those classic combos, making sure he has the lead or at least trade into the tower.
Yeah, Chasyu's decks were always these super slow, build up a giant push and steamroll the enemy kind of decks. And whenever he tried anything different, it never really worked for him. Like he felt like a one-trick pony last season, but hopefully since then, and now that he's in 2v2 and he's in a team, he's developing his game so he has a bit more to play around with.
And 2v2, we saw lots of golem play, lots of poison being dropped down back in Southeast Asia. If you have the golem, if you have a golem specialist on your team for 2v2, of course, it's a different story. But when you're looking for that perfect timing on the golem, he should be on top because he's the man with the golem.
Can't argue with that, and it looks like we're ready to drop into the game, maybe? Oh, the ban
cards. There will be the tornadoes again. Tornadoes are just so powerful.
Especially in 2v2 where you can drop tornado after tornado, so it's no surprise that both teams here ban the tornado. This does, however, open up pretty much every other strategy in the book.
Lots of tornado bans, continuing from yesterday on 2v2. Waiting for the day that we have poison spell ban. That will actually change the 2v2 quite a lot, as because it's 2v2, a lot of units are clumped up even more. That's why tornado is so powerful in that way, gathering everything and also doing damage. But I would say poison's right below that in terms of the tier list.
And in 2v2, when you can talk to your partner, you can have one person tornado with the other person with another elixir to drop a rocket, and that will kill practically everything. There's not much that survives the rocket.
Not too many units, of course. Some will, of course.
Golem would survive. That's the giant, maybe? Giant just about survives, I think.
And there are lots of structures. We saw lots of Goblin Hut put down against the Golem. We had great pushes. Even Flying Machine uses a lot of the time from Southeast Asia. Let's see what the Korean teams are having in hold for that 2v2. The first game is coming up very soon. Should be ready. It seems like they are done with the deck revising. They don't even need to do anything because they were expecting the tornado ban. Both teams are ready to go already, it seems like.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the go-ahead to go in. It looks like everyone here is super friendly and they're just having a good time playing Clash Royale. Like, do you blame them? It's such a fun game to play with friends. Like, when we play to see who settles the bill at dinner, like, you know, and you beat me and I have to pay again, and my wife murders me when I get home. Like, it's a fun experience to play. So playing with your friends in 2v2.
So Simon, I need you alive, and we are ready. Sorry to cut you off there, but we are ready to jump into our first 2v2 from Korea. Let's go into game number 1 of set 2. First game, 2v2, HAUL and QMills from OGN ENTUS. EuiChan+Chasyu from op.ggskeleton. First Miner.
A lot of aggressive play here, Miner and Bats. That's a pretty aggressive start if it works, but unfortunately just cancel out instantly.
We saw lots of double prints push.
Yeah,
it seems like it will be the similar deck coming out.
Yeah, we'll probably see a lot of Princes, Dark Princes in this. It's a very popular card in 2v2 because it does so much work.
It goes straight in. We saw the double Prince pushing all the way through the King Tower yesterday.
Golem for op.gg dropped at the back. That's going to start this super slow but super heavy push.
This is a different type of strategy. op.gg looking for the big major push for the entire tower, when OGN trying to do some chip damage with the Miner.
Oh, and a balloon as well. This Dark Prince is pushing that Golem so far forwards, but the balloon is going to log
the rage comes. The fireball is not enough to take the balloon out. Gets 1.
It's going to get 2. Oh, just not quite 2 hits. So much damage.
Does a ton of damage. That push was gigantic. It maybe even hit Bats come at a perfect time to delay that attack.
Yeah, it was a very, very heavy attack, and it did a lot of work for op.gg.
With that great push, Golem was just to take all the damage instead, just to make the balloon able to connect onto the tower. Great placement there also.
Yeah, if only you could zap your own units to make them attack something else, I think they would have been able to defend. But since you can't change your units' targets, they just have to keep attacking what they're attacking until it dies.
the great mechanics of Clash Royale. Also COC. You have to read where they are going. There's a miner doing a little bit more damage. I believe they're holding in lots of spells also.
Yeah, there's the first fireball. I'm expecting to see a log or a rocket to finish that tower. Oh!
Actually, the last bit of poison, not the poison, the Spear Goblin actually does the damage. There comes the poison now onto multiple units. They're making this push once again, but now the balloon's actually being forced all the way into the tower, going into the tower with the rage spell dropping off.
Yeah, that's enough to take
but
out
this
that tower.
push is continuing though.
He's gonna get one. Yeah, one hit there plus the death bomb. That's still, let's get damage onto that king tower.
Plus the death damage. Now here comes a lot more damage from the miner plus this Spear Goblins even connecting a little bit, doing a ton of damage. Actually gets about 2/5 out of the way.
Yeah, kind of interesting that OP.GG decided to go for the other Princess Tower instead of the King Tower. Like, usually, at this point, a lot of players would go straight for the jugular, you know? They would go for that King Tower. But it's going to work out for them here if that... Oh, it didn't get a bomb off. The perfect
It was so close. It was attracted by another structure, I believe, maybe a Tesla. So Balloon had to make all the way, trip all the way into the middle right there. Took a long way, even with the rage spell dropped on top.
Yeah, and there was a perfect zap just as the balloon was about to make its first attack. It got zapped. I believe it was a zap, which caused it to delay its attack just so it didn't get one off.
OGN Entus defending it very well. Now onto their own chip damage. Here comes the miner once again with the same combo.
Yeah, Inferno Dragon as well. This time he's going to take out that P.E.K.K.A quite quickly.
Tesla connecting so quickly. It's being dropped down. Balloon gets hit
It's
by the
gonna get
fireball,
one.
but that connects one.
Is it going to do any more damage here? Ooh, 713. That tower is almost out of this game.
And we're in overtime, so single more tower will be GG for either team. Seems like op.ggskeleton is looking for that right now with another golem pushing in, starting right now.
This could potentially be the final push of this game, but if somehow OGN Entus manage to defend this, they're going to have a massive push of their own.
Double Dark Prince, and there's a rage spell right onto...
There's another
great fireball.
Great fireball. Is that balloon going to get close enough? It is. It still needs a little bit more damage though. 248 hit points left, and now we can see they're going to push with the P.E.K.K.A, the miner. Oh, and a fireball finishes off the game. op.GG takes that win.
Great spell to end the game. The zap from OGN Entus, the final zap, stopping, delaying the balloon, actually doing the damage, and along with that, taking out the golem at the same time. Because did so much work at the final moment, but they already had a backup plan with the spells, the poison, and the fireball to finish off the game. What a crazy ending here. We almost had a trade at the end, but OGN Entus just not coming too close with the miner. It has been effective somewhat onto the left one, but once they were figured out, once they were not doing as much damage, they were kind of lost. Do we really change the strategy from this moment on? But in terms of cycle, it seems like we are defending well enough, so let's just keep on going of what we had to do. And it just didn't work out at the end.
Yeah, once you've seen what your opponent is throwing at you, you can wait for your cycle to start matching up, and your defensive cycle will be a lot stronger. That first push is so important because you have no idea what's going to be coming out at you. So if you can defend that first push, you're like, okay, this guy's going golem, we should be preparing, leaving our Inferno Dragon in the reserves, and put it down next time we see the golem.
Yeah, that's right. And they had the Tesla, but Tesla is a great way to make the golem path a lot longer than it should. But they also had the balloon. That was the biggest problem. Balloon takes out Tesla easily after one hit.
It takes out so many structures after one or two hits.
And bringing that rage spell, the spells actually make the critical plays in 2v2. We even see clones, freeze, even sometimes healing potion used.
Very rarely though.
Very rarely, but I've seen few healing spell used in 2v2, and I was very surprised. Elite Barbarian, I know you're not a big fan.
Never donate them.
4 Elite Barbarians, rage and healing on top of them. Oh man.
Well, that's just a recipe for disaster.
And I felt that experience with my own towers. Of course, I was paired up with a random one, but they're in competitive mode with the teamwork right now. Having lots of discussions, we go right into game number 2. So far, Game number 1 for 2v2 went for OP.ggskeleton. Can they continue their lead going into game number 2? We'll see as we head in right now.
Alright, so once again we have OP.GG in red. That's EuiChan+Chasyu, and we have OGN ENTUS on the bottom in blue. HAUL and QMills. Now OP.GG just need one more win here to take today's match.
Yep, that's right. As they took the first set, actually both teams brought the exact same deck. The feedback was that OGN ENTUS, I'm pretty sure they are feeling, oh, we were just maybe placing our card at the wrong timing. We could have won that game. That has to be the feedback if they are keeping the exact same deck.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly good feedback because they did a pretty good job, to be honest, after the first or second push. But both teams here seem to be keeping the same decks. So both teams went, that last game was alright, let's not change anything.
There's a rage, but this time OGN having so much in defense. Not too many against the air though.
Is that balloon going to go down with those bats? It just doesn't manage to connect with the tower. But this is a really powerful push now for OGN.
And Becca will be down, but the miner comes for some chip damage. Double the miner this time. That's going to be a change from OGN. Maybe they had double miners last time, but they were sending it in a different time.
Yeah, we just didn't get to see it last time. Last time we couldn't see the hands like we can now. And that helps so much. We can see exactly what is going on. We can see that the Tesla is going to come down for OGN ENTUS, and that is going to manage to pull the aggro of the golem, of the balloon, away from the tower long enough that they can take care of everything.
Pekka dropped a little bit too early just to make sure that they have a delay.
It also makes sure that they have enough elixir now to defend everything that comes out.
Pouring out everything, having the Tesla down to make sure the balloon does not connect. Seems like it will drop down one this time.
And it's going to take out so much with that death bomb. Takes out the minions, takes out practically everything. Only the Pekka walks out alive. But that tower there on the left-hand side for OP.GG is looking kind of unhealthy. One more big push from either team here, and they can take out each other's towers.
They need to defend this one first before they go into the offense.
Such a powerful push, and the balloon doesn't care about the Tesla.
Comes straight into the tower.
Takes out that bottom left-hand tower. Didn't care about the Tesla. Kind of a misplacement there. And now it's going to work on that King's Tower. But
2 shots onto that King Tower.
OGN ENTUS managed to drop in the double miner again with Log and Fireball. And now that top left-hand tower only has 68 HP left. That's going to go down quite quickly. One more Log, one more.
The miner will get taken out. They had it timed perfectly. They were already working on the other one.
Now it's interesting to see where they go. OP.GG could go for the King's Tower quite easily now. And they deal so much damage, but they have to defend that right-hand side.
Oh, the Dark Prince actually goes to the left, goes towards the long way. This is a great push coming down for OP.GG, straight into the tower now.
The death bomb comes in, 407 hit points, but both those baby golems are going to deal enough damage. And that is it.
That is the end of match 1, guys. OP.GG taking first set 1v1 and the second set 2v2.
Yeah, so Jin beating out Astro 2-1. We have the 2v2 game, EuiChan+Chasyu 2-0 over HAUL and QMills. OP.GG are off to an excellent start today.
Some amazing plays with the balloon, the Dark Prince, the Golem. Having the Rage spell right on top. They know how to push in. They knew exactly after the first tower was destroyed how to delay the defense from the Dark Prince coming out from the other side. If that Dark Prince connected to the right instead, I think they have a lot better chances of placing the Tesla. It's really hard once you lose that because you have a lot less control, less space and room to work with the Tesla. If you place right onto the middle or the left to draw the balloon out, the Tesla will actually get taken out from the other units on the ground.
Yeah, so positioning that Tesla is, as you said, really, really difficult to do. But is Tesla the right option there? Should they have gone for something a bit I don't know, a bit heavier spear goblin hood. I don't know.
Well, in terms of cycling, Tesla is always a great tool. Having that 4 mana, not the highest elixir, but does a lot of damage if that's left alone. Always a good tool to draw out that balloon all the way.
They could have used another building instead of just the Tesla, so they could have used 2 and pulled it all the way across.
And we'll have the highlight of our first match. We only had 2 sets. OPGG taking both of them. And have a 2-0 for them.
Yeah, this is a 2v2 game here, and we saw like everything OPGG did just kind of went right, but they did lose that first tower really easily.
From this moment on, we thought for a second, oh, OGN ENTUS got it, but the push from OPGG, they have a push where if it's not stopped even once, they will push all the way in. It is not the same as what OGN is trying to do. OGN ENTUS has a push where you do chip damage, maximum of maybe 700, but you can't really look for the entire tower with just one push.
Yeah, but OPGG just tried the steamroller method and it worked really, really well. If any of that, the golem, the balloon, if any of that hits the tower, it's going to deal a lot of damage.
All the death, explosion damage from the golems, it's so much damage onto those towers also. Even having the Infernal Dragon, which never really connected, but always taking down the P.E.K.K.A. They had all the defensive tools and the offensive tools together. I was saying this on cast last night, saying always defense first, and then switch into the offense mode. But in this case, when you're having a maximum push, I guess it works out in a defensive way also.
Especially when your push can finish things a lot quicker than your opponent, they can't counter push. They have to defend, and forcing someone to defend when they have a kind of chip damage deck, it's just almost impossible for them to do. They're just not going to be able to hold it off.
The placement on that Tesla was a little bit far off. The Balloon actually was closer to the tower than the Tesla was there. Not really changing its direction.
They did so much damage with those balloons and golems, like, and there was the finish. Oh, it was just so good.
Happy with their first ever results in the Clash Royale. We'll jump into the interview from OPGG. Wonder who it's going to be.
아시아 최강자를 가리는 클래시 로얄 프로의 세계 루다입니다.
And we actually have Luda from Cosmic Girls doing the interview for us.
대결 그 결과 OPGG가 값진 첫 승을 가져갔는데요.
OPGG take the first win tonight.
멋진 대결을 펼쳐주신 OPGG 의찬 선수와 함께 인터뷰 나눠보도록
have an interview with
하겠습니다.
EuiChan.
안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
Hello and congratulations
첫 승리를
on your
하셨는데
first
소감 한
win.
말씀 부탁드릴게요.
And how does it feel?
일단 프로 게이머로서 데뷔를 해서 첫 승리를 거뒀는데
This is my first debut and the first win as a pro gamer.
잘 경기가 풀려서 너무나 기분이 좋습니다.
And it feels really good right now to actually bring out our strategy and win against them.
카드를 선택하셨는데 혹시 그거에 대한 대응을 어떻게 하셨는지 궁금합니다.
일단 저희는 2대2 연습을 하면서
상대가
저희가 토네이도 밴을 하면 상대가 어떤 카드를 밴을 해도 할 수 있다라는 생각을
It didn't matter which card the opponent banned, as long as we had the tornado ban, we knew we were going to win no matter what.
그리고
And that's what we were having in the
그
mindset
덱이
that's going
굉장히
into the
인상
game.
깊었는데요. 이 헤비 덱을 고른 이유가 있을까요?
Was there a reason why you chose the heavy golem push deck?
1대1에서 거의 쓰지 않는 분노 마법이라는 카드를 꺼냄으로써
We had the rage spell, which is barely ever used in 1v1.
했었고요. 그리고 분노의 골렘의 벌룬을 굉장히 막기가 힘들었을 거라고 생각을 해서
I think it's really hard to defend against the
아주 멋지게 승리를
balloon,
하신 것
the balloon
같습니다.
golem and rage spell on top of that
게임에서
right
진
there.
TV 선수가 승리를 했어요. 석궁 대 석궁 플레이 어떻게 보셨는지
And
궁금합니다.
how did you think about
일단
the set
OPG
number 1
팀의
Expo versus Expo?
고경진이라는 이 팀원은 선수는 일단 저희들 사이에서는 고파고라고 불려요. 굉장히 기계적으로 굉장히 계산된 플레이를 굉장히 잘하기 때문에 같은 미러전 석궁전에서 반드시 이길 거라고 생각을 해서 3세트에 석궁을 쓰라고
and
같이
predict
말했던
everything
것
that's
같아요.
going to happen.
역시 분석이
And
대단하신
we
것
basically
같습니다.
knew when he had the same deck Expo
그리고 소리를
versus
지르는
Expo
모습을
that we
굉장히
were going
인상적으로
to win
봤는데요.
when it comes to the time.
팀의 맏형으로서 동료들과 함께 어떤지 궁금합니다.
How does it feel to actually be in the team as the oldest in the team and the captain?
팀원들을 잘 이끌고 이 리그
As a
아시아
captain, I
리그
would like to lead
좋은 성적 거둘 수 있도록
the team
많이
and to
노력하도록
end up
하겠습니다.
with
감사합니다.
a great
감사합니다.
great result at the end of the tournament to
네,
come
이렇게
out on
해서
top
OPGG가
after
첫
the Asian
승리를
region.
장식하며 강팀임을 인정. 자, 그럼 과연 다음 경기의 승자는 누가 될지 계속해서 기대해 보면서
EuiChan
잠시
from
후에 만나요.
OPGG having some confidence actually. A lot of these players, of course, debuting as a pro team now. Professional team, professional players playing in Clash Royale.
Well, that is going to be the last game we see today for OPGG, but we will be seeing OGN Entus later on in match number 3 today. But he sounded like he's ready for this. He is super excited to be showing himself in this game.
And that was the interview. And next up, we have Sandbox versus Kingzone Dragon X coming up very soon after the short commercial break. We will be back in a few minutes.